Come on, have some more wine, my husband urged. We had come to a secluded rental villa for our honeymoon. We were alone, taking our time and celebrating with some nice wine. However, after only 2 glasses, I felt strangely tipsy, and the room started to spin. Already drunk? You're hopeless, he teased. After drinking the water my husband handed me, I was suddenly overcome with sleepiness. Maybe I've been busy and tired lately, but when I glanced at my husband, instead of looking worried, he seemed to be smiling for some reason. Then I remembered a note from a stranger that had been handed to me. It said, "Run away now. My name is Mary, and I'm 27. We had our wedding 6 months ago and finally went on a slightly delayed honeymoon. I met my husband William 3 years ago in a cooking class. He's 12 years older, but we get along great and share the same taste in food. We also both lost our parents at an early age, so it was natural for our relationship to deepen and lead to marriage. Though we had our wedding, our work was so busy that we could only take a 1-week break. So we looked for a place where we could relax and chose a natural, serene location for our honeymoon. The rental villa where we were staying was just over 3 hours by car from home. On the way, we stopped at a restaurant for food as I was getting hungry. From there, the villa was about 2 more hours away. I had felt like someone was watching me since we entered the restaurant. After finishing our meal, a waitress handed me a small note as I stood to go to the restroom. The paper read, "Escape now without being noticed." I tried to ask what it meant, but the waitress had already disappeared into the back of the restaurant. I didn't see her face, so I didn't know who handed it to me. I thought it might be a cruel prank, but when I entered the stall and looked at the note again, there were digits that seemed to be a phone number. What on earth is going on? The excitement of our honeymoon suddenly gave way to an uneasy feeling. Who was that woman earlier? Driven by a desire to find the woman and inquire about this note, I heard voices from outside the restroom. "Hey Mary, are you okay? Feeling sick?" My husband called out. "No, nothing's wrong. I'll be out soon. Just wait at the table," I replied, lying on the spot. Unsure of whether or not to show my husband the note, I stuffed it deep into my pocket. Our long-awaited honeymoon, which had been filled with joy and excitement, suddenly became clouded with uncertainty. I felt I mustn't let my husband sense my inner turmoil, so I acted more cheerful and lively than usual as we left the restaurant. Next, we stopped at a supermarket to buy food and drinks and arrived at the remote rental villa 2 hours later. As we relaxed, walking together and enjoying our leisure time, I began to forget about the note. By evening, we decided to make our favorite dishes. I made his favorite hamburger steak, and he made mashed potatoes. We savored our meal across the table, toasting with wine and enjoying lively conversation, feeling so happy. And yet, after 2 glasses of wine, my head started to feel foggy. "I bought your favorite premium wine, Mary. Drink up," William encouraged. I might be getting a little tipsy," I admitted. "What are you talking about? You've hardly drunk anything." My husband offered me more wine. I thought about stopping, but looking at my cheerful husband, I didn't want to ruin the pleasant atmosphere, so I sipped the wine little by little. However, after a while, I started to feel even dizzier and as though I was becoming quite drunk. Feeling that any more would make me sick, I pulled my hand away from the wine glass. My husband stared intently at my face, checking my complexion. "You usually handle a whole bottle of wine fine. Is your daily fatigue catching up with you?" "Maybe it is," I replied. "You're such a helpless one. If so, drink this. It'll sober you up." "Here," he said, handing me the hangover supplement he usually takes along with some water. Yet even after drinking it, my drunkenness didn't subside, and I was strangely overcome with intense drowsiness. Finally, I was in such a state that I could barely sit in my chair, leaning on the table. "It's surprisingly easy," he muttered. Opening my eyes slightly at those words, I saw my husband, instead of looking concerned, had an eerie smile on his face. "You might just slip into an eternal sleep. Thanks for getting life insurance." Without caring for me as I lay limp and unable to get up, my husband poured all the wine down the sink, tidied up his dishes and glasses, and left the rental villa. Unable to move at all, I heard the sound of a car engine gradually fading away. What on earth is happening? The note that the waitress gave me flashed through my mind. "Run away now," might have been anticipating this situation. The last words my husband said echoed in my mind. "Thanks for getting life insurance." Just thinking about the meaning of these words sent a chill down my spine, with terrifying thoughts popping up one after the other. By the way, it was him who first brought up getting insurance. Within a week of our marriage, my husband strongly urged us to take out life insurance together. When I hesitated, feeling something was off, he said, looking sad, "Life insurance is like a charm for us. In case something happens, since both of us have lost our parents, I thought it'd save us from hardship if something went wrong." I was convinced at the time, but now, could it be that he's been targeting this all along? With great effort, I crawled to the kitchen and chugged down an unopened bottle of water. My mind started to clear a bit, and I took out the note I had received and pressed the call button on my mobile phone. After a few rings, a woman answered. When I told her I had received the note and was incoherent from the wine, she responded with urgency. "That's why I gave you the note saying run away now. You might be in danger." "What? What do you mean? Please tell me what you know," I pleaded. According to what she hesitantly told me, she was my husband's ex-girlfriend. Apparently, they were dating about 5 years ago when his parents died from an illness. His behavior was so suspicious that she became frightened and decided to break up. However, she couldn't get rid of him, so she vanished. I was stunned to hear her story. I had heard that his parents died more than 10 years ago in a traffic accident. What's going on here? So when we entered the restaurant, she was incredibly surprised. She hid in the back of the shop so we wouldn't see her. I wasn't imagining the feeling that someone was watching me during dinner. The waitress must have sensed that my husband was up to something and handed me a note when I went to the restroom, wanting to help with all her heart. "Thank you for giving me the note. I can't thank you enough. It must have taken courage," I said. I heard her sobbing on the phone at my words. "I can't believe this. I can never forgive this." Contrary to my gratitude to her, I was terribly shocked to find that my trusting husband had betrayed me. Gradually, I became consumed with anger. "I have to punish that man, no matter what," I said, without thinking. She replied, "Of course." But I had a plan. Carrying it out might put me in even more danger, but I couldn't just let things go on like this. I was determined to make him realize his wrongs. About 2 hours later, I heard the sound of my husband's car engine returning. After the phone call, I had fallen ill again and was lying on the floor. I could see my husband, still wearing his shoes, entering through the door. He slowly approached me, crouched down in front of me, and gently put his ear to my lips to check my breathing. "Damn, she's still alive. She's stubborn. I should have made her drink more," he muttered. "What does that mean?" I faintly whispered, and he began to speak with a defiant smile. "I'll tell you as a gift to the dead. You know I hate working, so I made my parents drink plenty of alcohol to quickly get my hands on some money. Then, I made them drink the supplement I made and gave to you. Ha! I married you because you had no one else, and now the life insurance money will be all mine. Since the premium is $500 a month, I might get around $500,000. I'm thrilled." I felt a chill as my husband's cruel words sank in. "You won't have your way," I croaked. "Don't act tough. You can't even move. I'll take all your savings too. Now, I'll send you to the afterlife right away with this," he sneered. My husband then took out several of the supplements from earlier. It sounded like he was dissolving them in water with the noise of a glass and stirring. He grabbed my hair, lifted my face, and poured the mixture into my mouth. "Stop it. Come on. Gulp it down. I won't hold back this time. You'll be in the afterlife in no time." I resisted desperately, coughing and somehow spitting out the liquid that had been forcibly poured into my mouth. "That's enough. Let go of Mary." Standing there was the store clerk, his former lover, who had handed me the note. "What? Why is Emma here?" I had arranged for her to come here after giving her the location of the villa on the phone earlier, I said, standing up smoothly from the floor. My husband looked completely baffled. It's true the wine affected me quickly, but I had felt something was off when he gave me the supplements while I was drunk and made sure not to swallow them. "You must have thought I'd come back here to check what had happened to me. Damn you, you tricked me. I'll never forgive you. I'll wipe both of you off the face of this earth," he roared. Recklessly, he grabbed the poker next to the wood-burning stove and approached us. "Stop it. Screaming won't help you here in this deserted place. Now, which one of you should I finish off first?" he said, swinging the stick in his hand, shattering mirrors and vases in the room. Just as I couldn't escape any longer, my husband stood in front of me, raising his arm to strike. At that moment, the door banged open with a loud noise, and the police burst in. His former lover had been watching the situation from the next room and had called the police. It was a close call. "Indeed, that was a close one," I muttered. With a shocked look on his face, my husband's arm remained raised, frozen in place. I took the opportunity to turn off the recording button on the mobile phone I had propped on the shelf and handed it to the police. I've recorded everything in here. This should be enough evidence, right? Oh, and the supplement I pretended to drink. I'll give that as evidence too. What? What's going on? My husband stammered. Actually, I had called the police after my husband abandoned me, but they didn't take me seriously because I was slurring my words, thinking it was a drunk's joke. That's why, with the cooperation of his former lover, I staged a convincing act to elicit a confession from my husband. Honestly, I was terrified of my husband and thought about running away right then and there. But I knew that if I ran, my husband would target me, and I believed that the police would surely come if they had evidence of a crime in progress. This is just a little marital spat, not something to bother the busy police with, he said, tossing the stick he was holding onto the floor and scratching his head. I was fed up with him, thinking he could still deceive us with all this evidence stacked against him. You might as well give up. We have your own confession and the video evidence of you trying to take our lives. Mary, you're exaggerating. Calling the police is going too far. I'll apologize, so don't be mad. I wouldn't really harm you, would I? There's no way I can believe you now. Besides, I will have everything investigated thoroughly, not only about this incident but also the death of your parents. That's such an old story, and there's no evidence. He seemed to think that he wouldn't be charged with a serious crime if he was caught just for this incident. Then the ex-lover, who had been silently observing, spoke up. I'm not sure if this will be helpful, but I have stored everything he said at that time and anything that seems to be evidence. Really? No way. I don't want to waste my life over something like this, my husband stammered. My husband tried to escape, but he was quickly caught by the police, handcuffed, and taken away in a patrol car. He shouldn't be able to get out of detention for a while. Watching the patrol car get smaller, I felt a release from anxiety. Emma, are you hurt? I asked. I'm fine, but I was scared. We don't know what would have happened to us if the police had arrived a few minutes later. I knew my life was in danger, but it was all to expose this man's deeds. Thank you for courageously giving me the note. If it weren't for you, I don't know what would have happened to me. I owe you my life. No, I think it was resolved because you believed in me and Mary acted without considering her own danger. I'm just glad you're safe. This should ease the pain of losing my in-laws. But it was indeed a terrifying experience. Afterward, we couldn't stop trembling for a while. Soon, my husband's attempts on my life and his taking of his parents' lives would be exposed. Of course, I'm divorcing him and canceling my expensive life insurance policy. Now all I have to do is wait for him to be judged. I'm scared but truly relieved that such a terrible person was not left at large. I'm hoping to find someone I can be with for life, and I'm learning from this. Please be careful with men who try to sell you life insurance.